Welcome to the show where I trace the histories of meteoric rise and sometimes meteoric falls of some of the world's most popular record labels that no longer exist. This is Labelnova. I'm TC Kirkham, TKR Video Central and the Kirkham Report. Welcome. I'm glad to be back after a 3-week hiatus because there's been all kinds of stuff going on around here. And we're going to start it off with, I think, my favorite label of the 1970s, and I think everybody has to say it's one of the most successful labels of the 1970s as well. Robert Stigwood, the impresario who was a manager, rock and roll guy, did all kinds of things over the years, managing artists, managing venues. In 1973, he launched his own record label, RSO Records, Robert Stigwood Organization. Its symbol was an Akibeko or Akibeko, a papier-mâché cow that is traditionally given in Japan to bring good fortune and good luck. As he said, I had recently received one from friends, and I thought, just slap RSO on the side, we got a logo. So that's what we ended up with. Now, the history of RSO is short. It's 10 years. 1973 to 1983, but in that time, and in particular in 1-2 year period, the label was the most popular label and the biggest selling label in America. Now, I'm only going to go over, as always, the U.S. stuff. They had different distribution and such elsewhere. But in the United States, RSO released 398 singles. Wow, in 10 years. Of those 398 singles, nearly a quarter of them, 101 of them, hit the American Billboard Hot 100 or Bubbling Under chart. This is the biggest music segments we've ever done on this show. 61 of those hit top 40, 35 of them went top 10, and 17 of them were #1 hits. It was an incredible track record. Now, they started off slow. They had a few hits in 1973 and 74. Most of those hits came from Eric Clapton, who had signed on with RSO from the beginning, starting with a reissue of a Derek and the Dominoes album. But in 1975, after 2 less than successful albums for the label, the brothers that would become the superstars of RSO released their album Main Course. I'm talking about Bee Gees. Over the course of the 10-year history, the Bee Gees were responsible for about 90% of the sales of the, well, I don't think it was that high, but it seemed like it was that high for the label. In total, Robin, Barry, and Maurice, along with their younger brother Andy, placed 30 songs on the Hot 100 or in the Bubbling Under chart in that 10-year period. That expands if you include the songs that Barry or Maurice wrote or produced. I mean, it was crazy to see that many people and just that many number of hits coming from just one family act. Clapton was the most successful outside of them. And as you'll see as we go through the musical portions, they are dominant in every particular category except also the non-charting singles, because I didn't put any non-charting singles by anybody that made the top 40 or the Hot 100 in there because I wanted to give you the variety of artists. So RSO really hit its stride with the release of the soundtrack of Saturday Night Fever. They had gotten in on Saturday Night Fever early. In fact, the movie was developed under Robert Stigwood's guidance from an article that was written in the New York Times, I believe, called The Tribal Rights of Saturday Night. From that, we got Saturday Night Fever, starring John Travolta. It was nominated for a number of Oscars and spawned a 2-record soundtrack that is still the biggest selling soundtrack in history. It's sold something like 40 million copies over the years. It's still one of the most popular catalog sellers out there. course, now it is on, I believe it's on Island Records now. Might be on Capitol, I'm not sure. Over the years, the Gibb brothers had proven their worth to Robert Stigwood. He was their manager, after all. But it was Saturday Night Fever that took the brothers, who had launched in 1962, to the true level of superstardom that was equaled really only by the Beatles and the Stones in the 1960s, who were both their contemporaries. For a period of 5 years, from 1975 to 1979, it seemed like nothing the brothers touched could go wrong. They had an album hit, or they had a big top 10 hit, or they had a number one hit, more number ones than anybody else of that period. And it all started with Saturday Night Fever. So RSO happened to get in a big way on the soundtrack scene. In addition to Saturday Night Fever, they were also the home of the soundtrack from Grease in 1978. And later in 1980, they would become the home of the soundtracks for The Empire Strikes Back, as well as 2 offshoot albums, or actually 2 offshoot 10-inch new discs for The Empire Strikes Back, and Fame, which was a huge hit that year. Now, RSO's biggest winning streak came in starting with Saturday Night Fever, and most of the music, although not all of it, came from that movie. They did something no other act has done before or since. They held the number one spot for 21 consecutive weeks, beginning the week ending December 24th, 1977, with 6 hits. How Deep Is Your Love by Bee Gees, Baby Come Back by Player, Stayin' Alive by Bee Gees, Love Is Thicker Than Water by Andy Gibb, Night Fever by Bee Gees, and If I Can't Have You by Yvonne Elliman. 4 of those songs came from the soundtrack of Saturday Night Fever. That's an amazing number of hits from one soundtrack and for one record. Yvonne Elliman was the one that broke the streak. She was at number 1 for just 1 week, the week of May 13th, and then they dipped out of number 1 for 3 weeks to make room for Paul McCartney and Wings with a Little Luck, and Too Much, Too Little, Too Late from Johnny Mathis and Denise Williams on Capitol and Columbia, respectively. And then they moved back into number 1 for 8 more weeks. 1 week with You're the One That I Want by John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John, and 7 weeks with what became the number 1 song of the year, Shadow Dancing by Andy Gibb. They would then drop out for 3 more weeks, and finally take over the top spot again for 2 weeks in August and September with the title track from Grease by Frankie Valli. Total of 9 number 1 hits in a calendar year by one label, especially an independent label, because they were distributed by other labels, Polydor, Polygram, so on and so forth. That's never been equaled, and no label has ever held a 21-week period before either. Pretty amazing. So they were on a hot streak, and they had already had a few big hits in the early 70s, but it would kind of stop and come to a grinding halt on July 21st, 1978. RSO hit a brick wall. The release of the disastrous movie adaptation of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band completely derailed the label, both chart-wise, nowhere near the success they'd had 6 months earlier, and financial-wise, to the point where Robert Stigwood eventually sold it in 1981, and Polygram phased it out in 1983. Sgt. Pepper's biggest hits were farmed out to other labels. The only hit to come off of the soundtrack for RSO was Robin Gibb's solo recording of Oh Darling. The other 2 big hits from the soundtrack, Aerosmith's version of Come Together and Got to Get You Into My Life by Earth, Wind & Fire were both for Columbia Records. So, I mean, if you've ever seen that movie, you know why. But it's a fun, bad movie. The Bee Gees, as singers, are terrific singers, and as actors, they're terrific singers and songwriters. Peter Frampton isn't terrible. Sandy Farina. Of course, they surrounded themselves with old hands like Frankie Howard, George Burns, Paul Nicholas. It didn't help. And it really stunted their momentum. Now, the Bee Gees would recover. They would have 3 more number 1 hits in 1979 off of their follow-up to Saturday Night Fever called Spirits Having Flown. But after that, America was done with them for almost 10 years. They wouldn't be back in the top 10 until 1989 on Warner Brothers with One. It really completely derailed their career, and it derailed the careers of a lot of people around it that were RSO was hoping would be hits that weren't. In any case, let's get into the music, and we'll talk more about it later. I've divided it into 4 sections this time because there were so many of them. I will present to you the 17 number 1 hits first, then all the songs that hit the top 40, all the songs that hit number 41 through 100 and the bubbling under chart, and then a scattering of a few artists that didn't chart that RSO had signed, and some of it is good. Most of it isn't too bad. There's a couple of stinkers in there, but not nearly as many as Private Stock or 20th Century had. We'll take a look back at their success. When you listen to the songs, you aren't going to remember everything that hit the top 40. I didn't. I did not remember 2 or 3 of them. And a lot of the ones in the songs you may or may not know section, a lot of them were popular. Some of them did quite well where I was living in Spokane, Washington, but they didn't hit the top 40. In any case, sit back for the next 48 minutes and listen to the musical history of RSO Records.
It's much harder to come by. I'm waiting in line. Nobody gets too much love anymore. It's as high as a mountain and harder to climb. Ooh, you and me, girl, got a lot of love in store, and it flows through you and it flows through me, and I love you so much more. It seems so good to see you back again. How long has it been? It seems like a mighty long time. Thought I was out of luck, but 10 seconds later, somehow we got stuck in that elevator. Heaven on the 7th floor. Heaven on the 7th floor. I wanna tell you, well, I've never been so high before. So don't you rescue me, never set me free. Don't you ever leave. Lay down, Sally, and rest here in my arms. Don't you think you want someone to talk to? Lay down, Sally, no need to leave so soon. I've been trying all night long just to talk to you. And then she asked me, do I look alright? And I say yes, you look wonderful tonight. This time I'm in it for love. This time I'm in it to win. It's crazy to do it again, but how could I possibly lose? How could I lose?
But now there's nowhere to hide since you pushed my love aside. I'm out of my head, hopelessly devoted to you. Hopelessly devoted to you.
Maybe an everlasting love will do. Everlasting love, so tall, so wide, so high above the rumble of thunder down below. It's your love I need, it's the only show, and it's you on an everlasting dream. Can't take summer days drifting away to other summer nights.
Tell me more, did you get very far?
Tell me more, like the sea of a
Oh, darling, please believe me. I'll never do you no harm. Believe me when I tell you I'll never do you no harm.
I'm a prisoner of your love. I don't wanna be set free. I'm where I wanna be, yeah. You're the keeper of my soul. You got complete control. Lock the door and throw away the key, yeah. We made a vow, the
what I think of you. I might not give the answer that you want me to. Oh, well.
I could be your good friend. I know that if you let me, we could walk together. We're not so different, you
Everything set fire, midnight wind, souls that cry, midnight wind, and lovers that cry in the midnight wind. You and I in the midnight wind.
But I keep feeling these love things hurting me through and through. Caught between the love of two. Or will I ever be free from these love things tearing me all apart? 'Cause I don't wanna break your heart. Or will I ever be free from these love things?
Lost her in the sun. What have I done? Lost her in the sun. Lost her in the sun. Lost her in the sun.
You are desire and everything you need. I give you right or wrong. And you are the woman that I base my whole existence on. And when I get to you, my desire is glowing in your
Chance, hold on to my love. I'm nothing, and I can't get along without you. You're the light of my life. There's no living without you. It's so hard to believe that you're going away. Couldn't make me feel so down.
But I can't help it. Every moment that I think about you, every day and every night without you, I can't survive. Love, take away the lonely days gone by. Make it every day for you and I. Giving me a chance to go on believing. I'm gonna live forever. I'm gonna learn how to fly. I feel it coming together. People will see me and cry. I'm gonna make it to heaven. Light up the sky.
Wouldn't I be someone, a someone? And I would be respected. In the prime of my life, I'll do everything right. I'll begin.
When I try, Mr. Natural, come on, baby. When I walk in the rain, you won't know that I'm crying. Smile on my face and I'm crying.
You're the light of my life. You are welcome to my Sharon.
And this feeling, knowing you blessed me for that.
Walk right in, sit right down. Daddy, let your mind roll on. Walk right in, sit right down. Daddy, let your mind roll.
If it takes my heart and soul, you know I'll pay the price. Everything that I possess, I gladly sacrifice. You to me are everything, the sweetest song I'll ever sing. Oh baby, oh baby. To you I guess I'm just a clown who picks you up each time you're down. Oh baby.
Being dead thriller, cause she was searching for the disco.
Baby, now come on and tell me what stole your heart away. Baby, now come on and tell me what stole your heart away. What would you do if I should have
Needles and pins because of all my pride. The tears I gotta hide. Oh, I thought I was smart. I won a heart, didn't think I'd do. On the strip, it's a beautiful night. On the strip, people feeling alright. On the strip, we gonna take you for a ride. On the strip, it's such a trip. On the strip. Running wild in the streets. Running wild in the streets. Running wild in the streets.
You got a band called Shady and a midnight lady and two Queen Marys to beat the band. You better not touch us. You'd best believe it. Your teenage jive is gonna work out a mess. Running
with a 4-speed on the floor, never waiting at the door. You know that ain't no shit. Never getting lost in 10 years lightning. Go breeze lightning, you're burning up the quarter mile. Go breeze lightning, you're coasting through the hip lap drive. You are so pretty.
Every cloud has a silver lining. It's the darkest before the dawn. I was born to look upon the bright side ever since the day I was born.
like never before. I'm tired of being actionless. Calling generals and majors.
My love, time is running out. Time is running out. Why must we wait until tomorrow?
When I want you in my arms, and I want you and all your charms. Whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream, 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 dream. When I feel blue in the night,
I know that you consider it as doing the right thing. You know the way I figure it. You're playing with lightning. I know that you consider it as doing the right thing. You know the way I figure it. You're playing with lightning. Living eyes way under the sun, don't cry. No war in my mind. The state of my heart. Living eyes way down in the rain will fall. The day I deny the face of my life. The Board of Education took away my parole. I gotta go back to school again. You won't find me till the clock strikes 3. I'm gonna be there till then. I gotta go back to school again. And there is someone belonging to someone, and I got no one belonging to me. I'm caught in a world where the face of an angel is all the fool can see. You got the power to find me whenever I'm lost. Well, it's a hard, hard road that I traveled. But it's a hard, hard road that I traveled. But it's a hard, hard road that I traveled. Down that line. But it's a hard, hard road.
Oh, it's sad to see little Jody's leaving me. Oh, what can I do? She's gone and found somebody new. Did you write there? It's alright by me. Alright by me.
Hang yourself a ball in my good woman. Won't you take some more, boy? It's more than you deserve. Won't you take some more, boy? It's more than you deserve.
Well, I saw it clear today that we were all more than only refugees. And the heads of state called out all of their reserves so they could postpone World War III.
nothing you can do, 'cause I'm stuck like glued to my guy. I'm sticking to my guy like a stem to a letter, like birds of a feather. We stick together. I can tell you from the start, I can't be torn apart from my guy.
gone. Tried to forget last New Year's vow. Never was that anyhow.
Body's rocking, people rocking, dancing to and fro. Tell your baby it's time to rock and get down on the floor.
Feeling the love, feeling the love, feeling the love that I get from you. Feeling the love, baby, feeling the love, through and through, I feel you.
Stand up, sit down, you gotta move your body all around. Stand up, sit down, you gotta move your body all around. Stand up, sit down, you gotta move your body all around. Stand up, sit down, you gotta move your body all around.
Oh, what a circus, oh, what a show. Argentina has gone to town over the death of an actress called Eva Perón. We've all gone crazy, morning all day and morning all night, falling over ourselves to get home. Mistrusted love, running away with my mind. Mistrusted love, running away with my mind.
It's good, it's gonna make you move. What you feel like dancing. Party thing, it's gonna make you swing. What you feel like dancing. Party thing, you're gonna dance the same. Keep it up, keep on dancing. Party y'all.
First time I looked at you, I knew then and there you were gonna be mine. All I want from you is to hear you say,
Take me away into a world where my dreams are
I wanna go crazy like the dogs in the yard. I wanna cut the road, but it's getting so much harder.
Forever, no ordinary boy.
How many of you forgot that Disco Duck by Rick Dees was an RSO release? And not just Disco Duck, but Disco-Rilla, too. Truthfully, RSO was my favorite label. I was a disco fan. I loved the music they came out with. I was a huge fan of the Bee Gees. I remain a huge fan of the Bee Gees. I wish Yvonne Elliman's Love Pains had been a bigger hit. That's always been one of my favorite songs by her. It was a top 5 hit on the Kirkham Report back then. And I really think it got the shaft at number 34, I think it peaked at. There are also a lot of great songs that didn't do as well as I thought they would. And a lot of the ones that did do well haven't become staples. I mean, of the big hits that RSO had, you hear Stayin' Alive by the Bee Gees, you hear You're the One That I Want, and Summer Nights, and Hopelessly Devoted to You. Quite often. You may occasionally hear Night Fever, and If I Can't Have You. And maybe if you have a good 70s station, you'll hear Baby Come Back. The rest of them, they just kind of faded into the woodwork after a few years. They were recurrents for, the latter part of the 70s and the early 80s, but even on our 70s channel that we had here in Boston for a while, I never heard an Andy Gibb song. I never heard Frankie Valli's Grease. It was a great label, and they had some great stuff on it all the way around. And what really struck me amongst some of the stuff was songs that I thought were really good, that I thought deserved to chart, that didn't. Dara Sadaka was 14 years old when she recorded her cover of My Guy. Great job, and yes, before you ask, that is indeed Neil Sedaka's eldest daughter. What a great version of that song. And people would finally get to know her a couple years later when she duetted with her dad on Should Have Never Let You Go, even though that song is not meant for a father and daughter to be singing to each other. We've had that discussion. There were quite a few songs. I like the Tommy Farragher song from Stayin' Alive, which was the final release of the label. And the Bee Gees' contributions to Stayin' Alive were good too. They were way better than He's a Liar, which I thought was one of their weakest songs ever, in all honesty. I don't like that song. I do like Living Eyes, but it didn't hit the top 40. But The Woman in You deserved a little bit better than it got, but people were still suffering from Bee Gees' Burnout in 1983, and I think that is what caused it. But Tommy Farragher did well. The Frank Stallone hit the top 10 with Far From Over. So the Stayin' Alive soundtrack was a great way to round out RSO's career. It just kind of got dumped after that. Polygram had bought it from Robert Stigwood. They deactivated it. Most of their stuff is now, the Bee Gees catalog is now owned by the Bee Gees, and they currently have a deal for distribution with it with Capitol Records. Most of the other material is released when they have releases. There's not that many of them. Most of them are on island here in the States and Polydor overseas. There may be one or two exceptions out there. But overall, RSO's legacy is tremendous. It was a label that was quintessentially the 70s, like Casablanca and a couple of other ones that came along in the 1970s. This label could only have found that big success in the 1970s. It was a great label with great acts that deserved everything they got and more. Obviously, Meatloaf didn't hit the chart in 1974 with More Than You Deserve. He was already recording with Jim Steinman 3 years before that became a hit, and that was before Rocky Horror came out too. It's an amazing label, and its history is amazing. I wasn't able to find every artist that wasn't on the Hot 100. I did make it a stab at it, but quite a few of them don't have very many releases. I even had trouble finding, I couldn't find the original version of Jon Stewart's Midnight Wind, which I love and which you can clearly hear Stevie Nicks on. I had to do a clip from the 2006 concert that he put on. But it's a great song, and all of those songs deserve to be hits. Not everything that RSO did was memorable, but the label itself will always be stuck in my mind simply because of their logo. That adorable Akibeko with the RSO letters on it will always be a part of my childhood memories and one of my favorite labels in the world. And I'd love to know what you think of this trip down memory lane with RSO Records, and what you remember of the songs that I don't remember, or the songs that are in the groups that you don't and do remember. Let me know, because I'm always interested in that. Next time, another label. We'll have a poll up on Sunday, probably, asking you to choose between 4 more labels for the next installment of Labelnova. Until then, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and if you have, thank you. I much appreciate it, and please don't forget to like and hit that like button, because that helps a lot with the algorithms. Please share out what you're watching to your music-loving friends, and of course, leave a comment. That's how I know how I'm doing well. Labelnova's gotten amazing reaction so far, both comments and emails, and I cannot thank you enough. I do apologize for being away so long the past few weeks because of computer problems, but hopefully that's all under the bridge now, and I will get things back to normal. Until then, and until next time we see you here and on any of my other shows, I'm TC Kirkham for the Kirkham Report and TKR Video Central. Thanks for watching Labelnova, another label coming soon. Ciao, baby.